Hello and welcome to another edition of Pop and Scott Talk Baseball. Trade deadline craziness going on. No big names, but a lot of wheeling and dealing, a lot of depth. Seemed like, you talked earlier in the week, trying to keep up with it. I know superstars. I don't think anything amazing really changed other
I
than
said
the
last
two.
week, so far, none of the big names. And you said, what big names? Well, we thought Toronto and, Crochet, Vlad Jr., Bichette, Skubal, Luis Robert, Mason Miller, Pete Alonso.
Way it sounded was teams wanted too much. People were not really ready to trade their future like they once did. Because like you said all season, there's a handful of teams that are way out in the head. And then there's this group that's playing for the playoffs. And you have to make a decision. Do you trade away your future for a shot this year? But if you trade it away, do you have a realistic shot? You have to play some realist.
Well, the other thing is, too, they were trying to trade for people where they had some control for another year or so.
Right.
They didn't want to just get a rental that they're going to have for 2 months and then he's gone.
Right. That's true. All this is the business side of it is you've seen a change the last couple of years. We've seen free agents not necessarily make huge paydays because they're best out there. We saw 3 of them this year get held out. I think the business side has really changed, and it's kind of pleasant to see, but also it made it interesting. But go ahead and tell us what you got there, Deb.
Well, first of all, before the last day when it was crazy, over the weekend, Justin Turner was traded by the Jays to Seattle, and they got R.J. Schreck, 24-year-old outfielder, in exchange. The Dodgers and the Cardinals and the White Sox had a 3-way trade where the Dodgers got Tommy Edman, the infielder from the Cardinals. The White Sox, they got a right-handed pitcher, Michael Kopech from the White Sox. Seattle got outfielder Tommy Pham and pitcher Eric Fetty, and the White Sox got Miguel Vargas and let's see.
Tommy Pham might set a record for how many different teams he's
played on. The White Sox also got Gerald Perez and Alex Alberto. They were infielders. So Eric Fetty, he went back to the National League in the first game he pitched for the Cardinals. He gave up 83 runs. So anyway, that was the weekend. Then Atlanta, they went out and got Jorge Soler back, right-handed pitcher Luke Jackson, and San Francisco they got them from San Francisco. San Francisco got Laurel Tyler, Matzek, and Saban Caballos, an infielder from Atlanta. The Dodgers then got Ahmad Rosario, and the Rays got right-handed pitcher Michael Flynn. The Rays and the Marlins traded a lot of folks, but they weren't well known. A lot of them weren't well known.
Right. Yeah, they're for youth. They knew that the Rays did keep their core though. Outside of a Rosarina, they kept their core. That's probably the biggest name in the whole trading week, I would think. Rosarina.
Yeah, him and maybe Flaherty.
Yeah, Flaherty. But Flaherty's kind of on the backside of his career where Rosarina's at his peak, I would think. But, it's interesting to see. With my Mets playing late, I haven't seen them play against on the West Coast right now. But I've been watching highlights and stuff like that. Back to work after vacation, so back to the real world. Have you been watching the Orioles and Gunnar Henderson's callback?
No, not Gunnar Henderson. Jackson Holiday.
I mean Jackson Holiday.
And they also called up the other kid. What was his name? They called up the other kid. But now this is Tuesday. This is what happened Tuesday in the trades.
Okay.
The Orioles got Gregory Soto from the Phillies, and they gave up right-handed pitcher Seth Johnson and Moises Chase, right-handed pitcher. San Diego did well. They picked up the left-handed pitching, the closer Martin Perez from Pittsburgh, and they gave up left-handed pitcher Ronaldo Jimenez to the Pirates. Arizona got right-handed pitcher Dylan Florio, and the Nationals received third baseman Andres Chaparro. Boston traded with the Angels, and Boston got right-handed pitcher Luis Garcia, and the Angels got right-handed pitcher Ryan Zefferjon, utility man Matthew Logo, right-handed pitcher Jefferson Vargas, and utility man Nico Cavadas. Baltimore picked up outfielder Austin Slater, infielder Livian Soto, and cash considerations. And Cincinnati got the ubiquitous player to be named later in cash considerations. San Francisco, they got outfielder Mark Canha. Detroit got, from San Francisco, they got right-handed pitcher Eric Silva. Tampa Bay, St. Louis traded. Tampa Bay got Dylan Carlson. St. Louis right-handed pitcher Sean Armstrong. The Yankees, they picked up right-handed pitcher Enyel De Los Santos and right-handed pitcher Thomas Balboni Jr., and gave up outfielder Brandon Lockridge to the San Diego Padres. The Dodgers picked up Kevin Kiermaier from Toronto, and they gave up their left-handed pitcher Ryan Yarbrough, and Kiermaier announced that he's going to retire at the end of this year.
That was a short career.
He's one heck of a center fielder, though.
Yeah.
The Dodgers, they got Jack Flaherty, and he pitched very well last night for them. And they got him from Detroit for first baseman catcher Therion Liranzo and shortstop Trey Sweeney. Philadelphia, they picked up a good reliever, left-handed pitcher Tanner Banks, from the White Sox, and gave up shortstop William Bergolla. Baltimore got DH Elroy Jimenez, and he can't play the field because he couldn't catch a cold. And the Chicago White Sox got left-handed pitcher Trey Mageau. The Mets got right-handed pitcher Huascar Brazoban, and Miami. They gave up infielder Wilfredo Lara to Miami. Pittsburgh, they acquired Isaiah Kiner Falefa from Toronto for outfielder Charles McAdoo. Pittsburgh acquired outfielder Brian De La Cruz from Miami for right-handed pitcher Jun Suk Shim and utility man Garrett Forrester. The Mets picked up right-handed pitcher Tyler Zuber, and they gave Tampa Bay right-handed pitcher Paul Gervais. San Diego got Tanner Scott, left-handed pitcher Tanner Scott, and right-handed pitcher Brian Hoeing. Miami got left-handed pitcher Robbie Snelling, right-handed pitcher Adam Mazur, infielder Graham Pauley, and infielder Jay Bashirs. San Diego has no more minor league teams. They've traded them all. Minnesota acquired Trevor Richards from Toronto for shortstop Jay Harry. Don't worry, folks, I'm almost to the end. Seattle picked up right-handed pitcher JT Chagot from Miami for right-handed pitcher Will Schomburg. The Mets acquired right-handed pitcher Paul Blackburn from Oakland for right-handed pitcher Cade Morris. Kansas City acquired right-handed pitcher Louis Aberg from Oakland for right-handed pitcher Mason Barnett, right-handed pitcher Will Klein, and outfielder Jared Dickey. Kansas City got shortstop Paul DeJong from the White Sox for right-handed pitcher Jared Rosado. Texas acquired left-handed pitcher Andrew Chafin from Detroit for right-handed pitcher Joseph Montevaldo and right-handed pitcher Chase Lee. Cleveland traded with San Francisco, and they picked up Alex Cobb, who is on the IL, but should come back before the end of the year. San Francisco received left-handed pitcher Jacob Breshnanen and a player to be named later. Boston acquired right-handed pitcher Lucas Sims from the Cincinnati Reds for right-handed pitcher Ovis Portes. And Arizona picked up Josh Bell, first baseman from Miami, for cash considerations. Pittsburgh, left-handed pitcher Josh Walker from the
Josh
Mets.
Bell's already paid dividends in Arizona.
Yep.
Did you see their first inning the other night?
Yeah, they something like 15 or 16 total bases in the first inning. They set a record for
Pittsburgh. Yeah, oh my God.
Josh Walker, Pittsburgh picked up Josh Walker, a left-handed pitcher from the Mets, for left-handed pitcher Nicholas Serrano. Baltimore picked up left-handed pitcher Trevor Rogers from Miami for infielder Connor Norby and outfielder Kyle Stowers. And I'm going to tell you right now, Miami made out in that deal. And the Yankees got
Trevor Rogers. He could be good.
He's decent.
He was good his rookie year.
Well, his fastball used to be 96, 97. Now it's 92. The Yankees picked up a right-handed relief pitcher, Mark Leiter, from the Cubs, and they traded infielder Ben Cowles and right-handed pitcher Jack Neely to the Cubs. And that, as you can see with all those trades, there were a lot of there's a lot of has-beens and never wasn't. I mean, and I was amazed to see where one team would trade a left-handed pitcher for another team's left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, it had to be like
one's a reliever and one's a starter. I don't know.
Or years on contracts.
Yeah, somebody wants to get rid of the money. But it was a lot of. I mean, it was a lot of stuff like that. But we mentioned all the big names that didn't get traded, and that's because nobody wanted to tie up all that money. And there's a lot to it about how much time a player has left on this contract. How much when you're traded to a team, how much
like options?
How much control are you going to have?
Yeah.
Some guys are out of options. You can't send them back down.
Right. They have to go through.
They have to go through waivers. So if you trade for somebody, decides you don't want them, you have to put them on waivers and lose them without being able to put them on your AAA team and call them up later.
Right.
So a lot of that has a lot to do with everything. And I mean, we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. Baltimore they did not get a closer, so they still don't have a closer.
Right.
Their bullpen is still mediocre at best.
Right.
And that's going to be their Achilles heel this season.
Well, I know the Mets pretty much revamped their bullpen, but I don't know if it's any better. I did watch after all the trades and a lot of new faces, a lot of new names, but a lot of the same outcomes. Geesh.
They were playing the Angels last night.
Yes.
And they jumped out to a big lead. And then they had to go to their bullpen. Well, first of all, the starting pitcher for the Angels pitched a magnificent 6 innings. He left after 6 innings, struck out something like 11 guys. The Mets scored 5 runs in the next couple of innings and were up like 5-0. Then the Mets bullpen gave it all back.
Right.
And they wound up losing.
I said it earlier. They try to stretch their starters, and now they're bringing in Diaz in the 8th inning to get 4 outs sometimes when he has to, and then that just kills him for the next night, maybe next 2 nights.
And this is another thing I had to laugh at this. My boy, on again, off again, Finnegan, the closer for the Nationals. They had a 3-run lead going into the 9th inning on was it Monday night? No, it was it was Monday night. Tuesday's the trade deadline. Monday night he goes in there, he gives up 4 runs and blows the save. On MLB, at the trade deadline, when 6 o'clock passed, somebody on there said, and they kept changing people every hour or so, so I lost track of who it was. It might have been Al Leiter, Mark Leiter's uncle. But he said, it might have been him. But somebody said, I can't believe nobody went and got that Finnegan kid from Washington. He's a pretty good closer. I'm thinking, did you not just see him pitch last night? Give up 5 hits in the 9th inning and lose? Did you not just see this? So why would somebody want to trade for that? Then last night, you're talking about yesterday afternoon, they took him out. I mean, they brought him in the 8th inning. The young kid they had in the 8th inning, he ran into a problem, but he got 2 kids out. He got 2 guys out. And then they took him out and brought in Finnegan to pitch to the 4 guys, 1 in the 8th and 3 in the 9th. And it worked for him. But I'm going, if you're trying to give this kid Mayo or whatever his name was in the 8th inning, if you're trying to give him the confidence to pitch the 8th inning because you traded your 8th inning guy to Kansas City, who, by the way, blew a game last night, then leave the kid in there and see what he can do. If you lose, who cares? You're not going to win anything anyway. Right. So if you want to see if this kid can be your 8th inning man, let him pitch. He was in trouble. He had 2 men on, but he got 2 outs. So give him a shot. But anyway, they took him out and they won the game. But I go, why? And I know I'm going to cover the standings and everything, but I have to say this about the umpiring again. I mean, yesterday I was watching quite a few of the, watching games and stuff. This strikes inside the box that are not being called, balls this far outside being strikes. I mean, it's an epidemic. Now here again, if it doesn't really cause a problem in the game, fine. Last night, and I saw this on the highlights because it was on the West Coast, Philadelphia Phillies were playing Seattle. Phillies had a lead. Seattle took a lead. The Phillies took a lead. Seattle came up in the bottom of the 9th. There's 2 outs. Game's tied. The Phillies, the pitcher has an 0-2 count on the batter. It goes to 2-2. He throws 2 waste pitches trying to get him to swing. He throws a ball this far inside the block. Ball 3. All right, the game's over. He just struck the guy out.
Right.
But the umpire said ball 3. The next pitch is this far outside. The batter, ball 4. They appeal to the first base umpire. No. So the winning run walked in. They showed the swing from the side. If the guy had made contact, he'd hit the ball 444 feet. The ball went that far in front of the plate. Right. I'm sitting there going, I feel sorry, and I'm not a Philly fan. Right. But I'm sitting there and I'm saying, if I'm the Philly fans right now,
they need all the help they can get right now.
Because they're not playing well. But I'm saying, if I'm a Philly fan right now, I am screaming because it was so. I mean.
Oh, they're screaming anyway. I spent last week with 2 Philly fans.
Well, I understand that, and they have a right to because the team Harper's like 1 for 30.
Right, they're tail spinning.
And I mean, nobody's doing anything.
Right.
The only guy that's hitting it is the homeless guy that wears a baseball uniform, plays the outfield.
Castellanos?
No, the one with the beard and the hair and all.
Oh, Marshall. Marsh. Brandon
he
Moore.
looks like a homeless guy in a baseball uniform. But anyway, he's the only one hitting.
Right.
He's hitting. But yeah, I can understand. But man, I'm going, here it is. The calls that umpires make that actually costs a team a game.
Right.
Or at least influences the outcome of the game.
Right.
And I mean, it was just the guy was struck out twice on two pitches.
Right.
I'm going, oh my word.
So back to Jackson Holliday being back up. Is he looking more confident now? Is he
he hit
like
a grand slam the other day.
Right, his first home run. I'm blacked out. I haven't had a chance to watch the kid, but it sounds like he looks different playing right now. It looks like he's more put together.
He's not pressing.
Right, he looks knows what he's doing up at the plate. That's what it sounds like. So that's good to hear. Around the league, a lot of new faces, but your team will not look different. You know what I'm saying? Most of the core players are still there.
The other kid the Orioles called up is Kobe Mayo.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. So we're getting it down into the nitty gritty. We're starting into August now. We talked about it last week. This is. They have 2 months left of baseball. This is it. 8 weeks. Now it might be 7 weeks. I have to look. But, yeah, I know there's no games in October. So what do you think any of the leaders, like the ones that have big leagues, like the Phillies, they're still, 7 games up? 6 games up.
I'll go over this. I'll go over the standings in a little while. I think they're only up by 5 on the Braves now. So it would be less than that, but the Braves lost yesterday.
Because the Braves have issues too,
and the Mets, injuries galore.
And the Mets, I don't think are strong enough to make up 5 games.
Yeah,
you're talking about 5 games. You have to win one more than that other team in the next. Every week.
Well, I mean, I might just point this out too. The Nationals were playing the Diamondbacks when they came out of the trade deadline, and that night they lost to the Diamondbacks 17-0. They would have lost 20-0, but the Arizona kicker missed a field goal.
Well, Arizona looks like they're playing ball again. They look like.
Well, see,
they found out the season was going on, and they decided to participate.
Yeah. Well, Jordan Westburg got hit with a pitch and broke his hand for the Orioles, so he's going to be out for a while. I don't know if you saw it or not, but the catcher, McCann, got hit with a pitch
in
his face and broke his 7 or 8 bones in his face and his nose, and he never left the game. They plugged his nose, and he stayed in the game.
McCann's a man. I saw a thing. I'm surprised he didn't kill somebody. That dude is jacked.
I mean, he just it was hard to believe. I mean, it was hard to believe to watch that.
And he was doing interviews after the game at his locker.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Mike Trout tore another meniscus, and he's out for the year.
Yeah, he might
as well hang it up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if he's collecting a paycheck, don't hang it up.
Well, it don't matter. He can hang it up, still collect paychecks, guaranteed money.
And Matt Scherzer's been put on a 15-day disabled list with for shoulder fatigue.
That's another one.
He might as well hang it up.
Right.
Even Carter is out for the year. He won't be coming back. These are pretty big injuries. Christian Walker of the Diamondbacks is on a 10-day IL with a left oblique.
That's a big deal for them.
Yes, it is.
That's their heart and soul.
Lance Lynn of the St. Louis Cardinals is on a 15-day disabled list. He dropped his cheeseburger, and when he bent down to pick it up, he hurt his knee.
What, did he slip on something in the food line?
Anyway, I shouldn't say. I mean, the guy hurt him. He hurt his knee, and so I'm just kidding. And by the way, last week, Dylan Cease threw a no-hitter, Well, Blake Snell threw one Friday night.
Right.
Against for San Francisco. He threw one against Cincinnati. So yesterday, Cincinnati comes out there, and that kid that pitches for Cincinnati, his name is Hill.
I don't know much of the pitchers.
African American youngster. He's got a great arm.
Hunter Green.
Hunter Green. He struck out something like 12 in those 7 innings, and Cincinnati came back and beat him on Saturday.
Before he had to have Tommy John surgery, he was the Skeens before he had Tommy John surgery.
Right. Yeah. And, he hurt his
so I'm 6'2". He walked by me at a sports show a couple of years ago in Chicago, and I had to look straight up. That's a big man.
Yeah.
I was like, good God, he's big man.
And here's a little bit of a ignominious statistic. The White Sox have lost 19 games in a row. Sad. I was watching after the Nationals played in the afternoon. The Orioles played in the evening last night against Cleveland. And I thought I'd lost MLB because I'm sitting there and they're going over some, different plays between the games. And all of a sudden it goes alternate programming for MLB. And it was sliding just different things across the screen, the MLB logo and all.
Oh, they blacked out the game.
And it kept going, check for alternative programming. If you're having a problem, call your provider. So I told your stepmom, I said, maybe them and Comcast are having a war and I just lost MLB. And but then it stayed off like that. And then last night I turned it back on and it was on. But I was watching the game on Fox last night. The Cleveland and Baltimore, and John Smoltz was doing the game. And they were talking about Stephen Kwan and how good a hitter he is, a contact hitter. And he doesn't strike out much. And John Smoltz said, this is the kind of guy that would have drove me crazy back in the day. Because, no matter what you threw him, he could hit it.
Right.
And he said, but if I was pitching today, I might win 30 games. Because he said, back then, most of the players I faced, at least when they got 2 strikes on them, they tried to make contact. Now everybody's just swinging their heels all the time. He said it's a whole lot easier to get them out.
Right.
And of course, we've been saying that for a while. All right. I'm going to tell you,
I'm a Stephen Kwan fan. I've been high on him ever since when he was at Oregon State.
Well, see, Cleveland has the earned run average is the best for their bullpen. They have the number 1 rated bullpen in the major leagues, but last night Baltimore got to them. They got to them pretty good. But anyway, looking at the standings in the American League, the Yankees and the Orioles are tied. Neither one of them has done a lot in the last month.
Right.
Red Sox are 6.5 back. Let's see. Cleveland, they're up 5.5 on Minnesota and 6 up on Kansas City. Seattle has a 1-game lead on the Astros and 5.5 games on the Texas Rangers. In the National League, Atlanta is 5 games back of Philadelphia. They picked up some time. They picked up some on Philadelphia because Philadelphia's having a tough time. The Mets are 7 games back. Milwaukee is 5.5 up on St. Louis and 6 up on the Pirates. The Dodgers are 4.5 up on the Padres and 5 games up on the Diamondbacks. In the wild card, the O's and the Yanks, as I said before, one's going to win the division, the other one's in the wild card. Minnesota and Kansas City are both Minnesota's the second, but Kansas City's 5 back of them, and then the Red Sox are 2.5 back, Astros 4 back. Tampa is 5 games back. So Tampa is there.
Right.
In the National League, Atlanta, and San Diego and the Diamondbacks are the 3 teams in the wild card. The Mets are a half a game back. St. Louis is 2 games back. The Pirates 2.5 games back. The Padres are 5 games back. San Francisco's 4.5, 4.5. Padres 5, and the Cubs 6. So in the National League, that's wide open. I mean, that's just wide open for the.
Yeah, we're getting to crunch time though, where 6 games is going to be tough.
Yeah, 5.5, 6 games are going to be hard to be made up. We said that last year, and teams that we didn't think were going to make the playoffs came up and made the playoffs.
They'll make a run. I guess it's easier to do it against mediocre teams than it is the better teams. Last place playoff. I
can't see the Cubs doing it. I just can't.
Well, they're like my Mets. I don't think they have enough pitching, especially with Senga down. I don't know if the Cubs have enough. I don't know if the Padres have enough. It's just, you got to have a big run left in you, and it's just tough. It's too many mediocre teams where they can string a couple of a 10-game winning streak or something like that. So I just feel it's going to be tough to do. So I mean, the Mets are playing the Angels. Did they hang on and win last night? I haven't seen
the Angels won.
Okay. So yeah, they can't beat the Angels, so that's where we're at. So that's tough. It's going to be fun to watch. I've been saying it here for the last week or so. Strap in. Hope you like baseball. At least watch the highlights. It's starting to become closer and closer. Playoff feel starts to happen. Great. I watched the Royals here a little bit. I kind of want to see Bobby Witt get in the playoffs. I want to see some big names in the playoffs this year and see what they do. And I like to see a little different variety. I want to see my O's get in, which I think they will. I just hope they make some noise this year. Don't bow out quiet with a whimper.
They better get some relief pitching. Somebody better step up to the forefront.
Yeah, but I think that's our battle cry for everybody. This might be a playoff of who can score the most runs. And I don't mean softball. Yeah, it's more like softball than baseball right now. But it always happens. Good pitching steps up in the playoffs. You only need 2 good pitchers. So we'll have to wait and see. And there's always a Bumgarner out there that is mediocre in the regular season, and playoffs come out and they're the greatest pitcher of all time.
Montgomery.
Yeah, Montgomery. So it's always a pitcher that steps up all of a sudden. You're like, where did this guy come from? The highlights in baseball and, MLB, you're always checking in on things. Do you think there is a team out there? You were just naming off like 6 back or whatever. It's tough right now. Do you see a team making a move to a playoff spot or to a first place spot that's not battling for it right now? That comes into picture here in the last 2 months.
I think the team probably with the best chance to make a move of significance is San Diego. And I say that with the Diamondbacks breathing down their neck. I picked the Diamondbacks to win that division because I just love that young team. But they're so streaky. They'll win 6, 7 games, start making a move, and then lose 3 games. So I think San Diego can make a move. If you look at the different divisions, the National League East, you got the Phillies and the Braves, who I think might not make the playoffs because of all their injuries. But the Mets aren't going to make a big run. They can make the playoffs, but they're not going to make a big run. The Central, Pittsburgh maybe, but Pittsburgh's bullpen's not very good. They've got 3 real good starters. Pittsburgh might make a run, but I kind of doubt it. I thought Cincinnati might, but here again, they have a shortage of pitching. So Milwaukee looks like the class of that division. The team that really I'm a little disappointed in is Minnesota.
Yeah.
They've been playing decent. They can't gain anything on Cleveland because Cleveland's doing so well. But Minnesota's in a tough division now. Kansas City and Detroit are playing well. And Kansas City, wow, if they can put some pitching together, they could make a run, I think. But I think the team with the best chance to make a run would be San Diego.
Okay. I was just curious because I just wanted to hear that. I usually ask you around this time, who do you think's gonna get it together?
Well, we had two real good teams, in my opinion, the Phillies and the Yankees, and then we had another layer of teams that were really good, and then we had some so-so teams, and then we had the stink pots.
Right.
So that's the way I looked at it. But now the Yankees and the Phillies have kind of fallen back to the pack. So after real hot starts, so now it's hard to say. But I mean, who knows? Cleveland, I can't trust them because every year they get to the playoffs and they can't score. They can't score any runs. So they don't quite have the talent to match up with the Yankees and teams like that. So we'll see.
Right.
And of course, for all the Seattle diehards out there, I'm pulling for them, guys. I mean, I know your pain. They're just.
I think they're serious. They're going to be interesting to watch.
I say last week picking up Rosarina, and they picked up a couple of good ball players in trades, which they didn't do last year. So they may get over the hump this time.
Right. Well, let's end it there for this one.
I have one more yogi. Yeah, I have a yogiism.
I was going to ask you to close it out for us.
Well, my yogiism this week. He said he wouldn't get his kids any encyclopedias because they can walk to school like he did.
Okay, so there you have it.
That's yogi.
All right. So enjoy the games, everyone. Until next time, like, share, tell a friend. And we